The words came through my bedroom wall at 2 a.m. Go die somewhere else, Margaret. This house deserves a real family. My daughter-in-law's voice. Cold, final, like she was ordering coffee. I pressed my palm against the wall I had built with my own hands 37 years ago. Every nail, every board, every drop of sweat from a 28-year-old widow who refused to let her infant son grow up without a home, and now that son's wife was planning how to take it from me. But what Patricia did not know, what she could never have imagined, was that the walls she wanted to steal had ears, and the old woman she thought was too weak to fight back had built things a lot harder to destroy than houses. If you want to know how a 72-year-old construction worker became her daughter-in-law's worst nightmare, tell me where you are watching from right now, because this story is going to make you check every wall in your own home. My name is Margaret Chen, 72 years old, and what I am about to tell you happened 6 months ago in the house I built in 1988. With nothing but a widow's determination and a hardware store credit card, I was terrified I would never pay off. I need to tell you about that house, because you cannot understand what Patricia tried to take from me unless you understand what it cost to build it. June 1987. My husband, Jim, died on a construction site, fell 3 stories because the safety harness was old and the company was cheap. And I was 28 with a 6-month-old baby and $17 in my checking account. The lawyers said I could sue. Maybe get $50,000 if I waited 3 years and spent $20,000 I did not have on legal fees. Or I could take the settlement. $32,000. Sign the paper. Walk away. I took the money. People judged me for that. Jim's family said I sold his life cheap. But those people were not laying in bed at 3 a.m, listening to their baby cry from hunger, adding up grocery bills on the back of envelopes, wondering which utility could go unpaid another month. I bought land instead, half an acre 20 miles outside the city. Cheap because it flooded. Cheap because it was raw dirt with no utilities. Cheap because everyone said a woman could not build a house alone. I did not know how to build a house, but Jim had taught me to use tools. How to read a level, how to cut a straight line, how to respect wood and concrete and the simple physics of weight and balance. So I learned the rest. Every night after my shift at the textile factory, I drove to that half acre of mud. Robert strapped to my back in a carrier Jim's mother had sewn before she stopped speaking to me, and I dug the foundation by hand. Do you know what it feels like to dig a foundation by hand? Let me paint you a picture. Your shoulders burn like someone poured gasoline on the muscles and lit a match. Your palms blister, then bleed, then callous into leather that never quite goes back to being soft. You taste dirt in your teeth for weeks. Your lower back seizes up so badly that getting out of bed requires rolling onto the floor first. And you are alone. Completely alone. Because the men at the hardware store laugh when you ask questions. Because your family says you are being stubborn instead of practical. Because your neighbors watch you through their windows but never offer to help. 6 months to dig that foundation. 6 months of borrowed cement mixers and rented equipment and YouTube videos that did not exist yet, so I bought books instead. Spent money I did not have on books about load-bearing walls and roof pitch and how to keep a house from sinking into clay soil that wanted to swallow it whole. Robert took his first steps on the concrete slab I poured myself. I have a photo. He is 10 months old, wearing Jim's old work shirt as a dress, and his tiny footprints are still there in the corner of the laundry room floor, where the concrete was not quite dry yet. The framing took another 8 months. I bought lumber from a yard that was going out of business. Warped 2x4s and studs that were not quite straight. I learned to sort wood by sound. Good wood has a clean ring when you drop it. Bad wood thuds. I built that house with thudding wood and ringing determination. By the time Robert turned 3, we had walls. No windows yet, no doors, just plywood and Tyvek wrap and a blue tarp roof that leaked when it rained. But it was ours. The electrical took me 2 years to learn. I failed the inspection 4 times. 4 times the county inspector walked through my house, shaking his head, marking up his clipboard. And every time I asked what I did wrong, every time I took notes, every time I went back and ripped out what I had done and did it again. The 5th time, he passed me, shook my hand, said he had never seen anyone that stubborn. I told him stubborn was just another word for mother. We moved in on Robert's 7th birthday, October 15th, 1994. The house was not finished. The bathroom had a shower but no tub. The kitchen had a sink but no cabinets. 3 of the 4 bedrooms had no doors, just curtains I had sewn from old bed sheets. But it was ours, paid for. No mortgage, no landlord, no one who could take it away from us. Robert helped me plant the garden that first spring. Tomatoes and cucumbers and green beans that grew so thick we gave them away to neighbors who had watched me build and never helped, but happily took the vegetables. I did not care. I had a home. I had a son. I had dirt under my fingernails and paint in my hair, and a roof that did not leak, and a door I could lock, and a future that felt possible. For 26 years, that house was everything. Every wall had a memory. Every room had a story. The kitchen where Robert learned to cook. The living room where he studied for his engineering degree. The porch where he told me he was getting married. That porch. God, that porch. I built it the summer Robert graduated college. Pressure-treated pine. Concrete footings I poured myself. A roof extension I engineered using trigonometry I taught myself from library books. And 6 years ago, Robert sat on that porch swing, holding Patricia's hand, looking at me with eyes so full of love I thought my heart would burst. Mom, Patricia and I are getting married. We want to have the ceremony here, in the backyard, under the oak tree you planted when I was born. I cried. Happy tears. Grateful tears. Tears that said my son had found someone who understood that this house was not just a building. It was a monument to survival, a shrine to a mother's love, a promise that we had made it. Patricia smiled at me that day, squeezed my hand, said the house was beautiful, said she could see the love in every board. I believed her. I was so stupid. The wedding was perfect. 200 people in my backyard, white chairs I rented, flowers I grew myself, Robert in a suit, Patricia in a dress that cost more than I spent building the entire house. And when the pastor said, "You may kiss the bride," I stood there crying, thinking about Jim, wishing he could see this. Wishing he could know that the baby we made together had grown into a man who built a family in the home I built with my grief. Patricia moved in 3 months later. "Just temporarily, Mom," Robert said, "until we find our own place. The rental market is crazy right now. 6 months tops. 6 months became a year. A year became 3. 3 years became Patricia redecorating my living room, painting over the walls I had textured by hand, replacing the light fixtures I had installed myself with modern ones that cost $300 and looked like something from a spaceship. "This old style is so dated, Margaret," she would say, smiling, always smiling. "We are just freshening things up." Freshening meant erasing. Every change was another layer of me scraped off. The wallpaper I had chosen, the cabinet hardware I had installed, the bathroom tile I had laid on my hands and knees over a weekend when Robert was 12 and at summer camp. All of it. Gone. Replaced. Made modern. But I told myself it was fine. They were young. They had different taste. The house was big enough for all of us. I still had my bedroom, my workshop in the garage, my garden out back. I still had space to exist. Until I did not. It started small. Patricia asking if I could watch her purse while she ran errands, then asking if I could pick up a few things from the grocery store since I was going anyway, then asking if I could start dinner because she was stuck in traffic and Robert was working late. One favor became 10. 10 became 50. 50 became a routine I had not agreed to but could not seem to escape. Cook breakfast, pack Robert's lunch, do the dishes, vacuum the living room, fold the laundry, water the plants Patricia bought to replace the ones I had grown from seeds. I became the help in my own house. And the worst part, the absolutely worst part, was that it happened so slowly I did not realize it until it was too late to object without seeming crazy. When did I become the maid? I could not point to a day, a moment, a conversation where the shift happened. It just did. Like water eroding stone. One small concession at a time until the foundation crumbled, and I was standing in the ruins of my own boundaries wondering how I got there. But I told myself it was temporary. I told myself Patricia was just stressed. Robert was working long hours. They were trying to save money for their own place. I was helping family. That was what mothers did. Then Patricia got pregnant. Robert told me on a Sunday morning. I was in the garden, pulling weeds from around the tomato plants that were the great-great-grandchildren of the first seeds I planted in 1995. "Mom," he said. His voice was shaking, happy shaking. "We are having a baby." I screamed, actually screamed, dropped my trowel and grabbed my son and cried into his shoulder while he laughed and told me I was going to be a grandmother and the baby was due in March, and they wanted to name him James after Dad. After Jim, my Jim, the man who died so this moment could exist. I was so happy I could not breathe. Patricia came outside, smiling that smile I was starting to recognize, the one that did not reach her eyes. "Margaret," she said, "we were hoping you could help us with something." "Anything," I said. "Anything you need. We want to turn the spare bedroom into a nursery. The one you use for storage, my sewing room, the room where I kept fabric and patterns and the quilts I made for charity." But I nodded. Of course, a baby needed a nursery. Patricia kept smiling. "And we were thinking, since you are here anyway, and you have so much experience with home projects, maybe you could do the renovation." "Renovation?" I asked. "New drywall, closet expansion, built-in shelving." Patricia pulled out her phone, showed me photos from Pinterest. "I have it all planned out." The renovation took me 3 months. 3 months of cutting drywall in my own house, hanging shelves for my grandchild, painting clouds on a ceiling because Patricia wanted a sky theme. I did not mind the work. I loved the work. Every nail was a prayer. Every stroke of paint was a blessing. I was building a future for my grandson in the house I built for my son. James was born March 14th, 8 pounds, 6 ounces. Robert's eyes, Jim's chin, lungs that could shatter glass. I held him in the hospital and felt something I had not felt since Robert was born. Purpose, clarity. A reason to exist that was not about survival, but about love. This baby was my legacy, my second chance. The proof that everything I built had been worth it. Patricia let me hold him for exactly 4 minutes. Then she took him back. Said he needed to eat. Said I could visit tomorrow. Tomorrow became next week. Next week became when we are settled. Settled became when he is on a schedule. By the time James was 2 months old, I had held him exactly 6 times. Always supervised. Always with Patricia hovering. Always with a countdown. "He needs to nap, Margaret. You can see him later." Later never came. And that was when the rules started. Rule 1. No entering the nursery without permission. Patricia needed to control his environment. Germs, overstimulation, routine. Rule 2. No picking up the baby when he cries. Patricia was sleep training. I would confuse him. Rule 3. No giving him toys or clothes or anything without approval. Patricia had a system. I lived in my own house following rules about when I could see my own grandson. But I told myself it was new mother anxiety. First baby. Patricia was protective. It would get better. It got worse. By the time James was 6 months old, Patricia had converted my workshop in the garage into a storage unit for baby equipment. The table saw I bought in 1989. the router I saved for 6 months to afford, the drill press I inherited from Jim's father, who had finally forgiven me for taking the settlement. All of it, pushed into a corner, covered with strollers and high chairs and boxes of diapers. I need the space, Margaret. You do not use these tools anymore anyway. I use them every week. But I said nothing, because fighting about a workshop seemed petty when there was a baby in the house who needed things, and I was a grandmother who should be grateful to live close enough to watch him grow. Except I was not watching him grow. I was watching through a closed door, listening to him cry while Patricia sleep-trained, aching to hold him while following rules that made no sense. And then came the kitchen. Patricia decided my kitchen was too small, too outdated, not functional for a family. Robert agreed. Of course he agreed. Patricia had been working on him for months, planting seeds, mentioning how nice modern kitchens were, how much easier cooking would be with an island, with newer appliances. "Mom," Robert said, "we want to renovate the kitchen, update it." Patricia found a contractor who can do it for $40,000. $40,000. To destroy the kitchen, I built with my own hands. The counters I installed. The cabinets I assembled piece by piece. I said no. It was the first time I had said no to anything in 3 years. Robert looked shocked. Patricia looked furious. "Margaret," she said, voice tight, "this is for the family, for James. Do you want your grandson growing up in an outdated house?" "The house is not outdated," I said. "It is classic." "Classic is code for old," Patricia said. "Just like you." The room went silent. Robert stared at his wife. I stared at my daughter-in-law, and Patricia stared at me with eyes that said she had been holding that thought back for years and was done pretending. "Patricia," Robert said, "that was uncalled for." But he did not ask her to apologize. He did not defend me. He just stood there, looking uncomfortable, waiting for the moment to pass. And I realized something that made my stomach drop. Robert was not on my side anymore. Maybe he never had been. Maybe I had raised a boy who loved me, but would always choose his wife, choose his new family, choose the future over the past. That night, lying in my bedroom, I heard them through the wall. Patricia's voice, sharp, angry. "Your mother is impossible. We cannot live like this." Robert's voice, tired, defeated. "What do you want me to do? It is her house." "Is it?" Patricia asked. "Because she acts like she still owns it, but we live here. We take care of it. We pay the utilities. When was the last time she contributed anything besides being in the way? I pay for groceries. I wanted to scream through the wall. I cook your meals. I clean your messes. I renovated a nursery with my own hands for free. But I said nothing. Because screaming through walls would prove I was crazy, would prove Patricia right. "We need to talk to her," Robert said. "Set some boundaries." Boundaries. They wanted to set boundaries. In my house. "Or," Patricia said, her voice dropping to a whisper I had to press my ear against the wall to hear, "we could look into other options." "What other options?" "There are facilities, Robert. Nice ones. For older people who need help. My friend's mother is in one. She loves it. Activities, medical staff, no worries." "You want to put my mother in a home?" Robert's voice cracked. "I want our family to have space," Patricia said. "I want James to grow up in a house that is ours, not hers. I want to stop walking on eggshells around a woman who treats us like visitors." "She built this house," Robert said, 37 years ago? And now she needs to let it go. Let us have it. Let us make it ours." The silence that followed was the longest of my life. Finally, Robert spoke. "Let me think about it." "Not no, not never. Not how dare you suggest that. Let me think about it." My son was considering putting me in a facility so his wife could have my house. I did not sleep that night. I lay there staring at the ceiling I had drywalled myself, counting the screws. remembering the day I hung that drywall. Robert was 14. He helped me, held the panels while I secured them, made jokes about becoming a professional ceiling holder. We had laughed. We had been a team. Now he was teaming up against me. 3 days later, Patricia brought home brochures, glossy photos of assisted living facilities, smiling old people playing bingo, eating meals in cafeterias, sitting in rooms that looked like hotel rooms, clean, sterile, not home. Just something to look at, Margaret, Patricia said. No pressure, but Robert and I were thinking about your future, making sure you have support as you get older. I am 72, I said. Not dying. Of course not, Patricia said, smiling. But it is good to plan ahead, and these places are wonderful. You would have friends, activities, medical care right there. I have medical care, I said. I have a doctor. But if something happened, Patricia said, if you fell, if you needed help, we are both working. We could not be here. So put me in a facility to make your lives easier, I said. Patricia's smile finally cracked. That is not what I said. It is exactly what you said. We were trying to help, Patricia snapped. But if you want to be stubborn and ungrateful, fine. Stay here. But do not expect us to keep accommodating your every need. My every need? I said. I cook your food. I clean your house. I watch your baby when you let me. What needs am I demanding you accommodate? This house, Margaret. This whole house. It is yours. We get that. But we live here too, and we need space to breathe, space to make decisions, space to be a family without you hovering. I built this house, I said. I live here. This is my home. And when you die, Patricia said, and I watched Robert flinch but not interrupt. When you die, it becomes Robert's home and Robert's family. So maybe instead of clinging to it like a shrine, you could think about what is best for your grandson's future. She left the room, left me standing there with glossy brochures about facilities that were code for get out of our way so we can have what is yours. That was 4 months ago. 4 months of tension. 4 months of Patricia treating me like a burden. 4 months of Robert avoiding eye contact. 4 months of me sleeping in the bedroom I built, in the house I built, wondering how long I had before they forced me out. And then, 2 nights ago, I heard the conversation that changed everything. 2 a.m. I woke up to pee. Old bladder, weak floor. The floorboards outside my room creaked, and I heard Patricia's voice through the wall. She was on the phone. I do not know who she was talking to, but I know what she said. We cannot wait for her to die naturally. She is too healthy, could live another 15 years, and we need this house now. I froze. Hand on the doorknob. Heart hammering. The lawyer said if we can prove she is not mentally competent, Robert can get power of attorney. Then we can make decisions for her, including where she lives. Prove I was not competent. They were planning to lie about my mental state, to take control, to force me out. I already planted seeds with her doctor, Patricia continued. Mentioned she forgets things. Gets confused. I will keep building the case. 6 months and we can have her evaluated. 6 months until they tried to steal my life. I am done waiting, Patricia said. This house should have been ours years ago, and I am done pretending to respect some old woman who refuses to move on. Then came the words that burned into my brain. Go die somewhere else, Margaret. This house deserves a real family. She said it to whoever was on the phone, but she might as well have screamed it through my door. I stood there in the dark, hand on the doorknob, body shaking with rage so pure it felt like fire in my veins. This house deserves a real family. I built this house. I dug the foundation. I framed the walls. I wired the electricity. I plumbed the pipes. I roofed it. I sided it. I landscaped the yard. I planted the trees. I laid the floors. I hung the doors. Every inch of this house was my blood, my sweat, my tears, my refusal to quit. And this woman who moved in temporarily 6 years ago and never left. This woman who redecorated my walls and took my workshop and set rules about when I could see my grandson. This woman thought she could take it. Thought I would just let it happen. Thought I was too old, too weak, too broken to fight back. She was wrong. Because what Patricia did not know, what she could not possibly know, was that when you build a house with your own hands, you know things. Secret things. Structural things. You know where the support beams are. You know where the crawl spaces hide. You know which walls are hollow and which ones carry the weight of the entire roof. You know where to dig, where to hide, where to bury things. And most importantly, you know how to make a house, tell you everything that happens inside it. I built this house to last forever, but I also built it to protect me. And now it was time to see if Patricia was ready for what happens when you threaten a woman who knows how to build things from nothing and how to destroy things built on lies. Where are you watching this from? Tell me in the comments, because what happens next is going to make you look at your own home differently. The next morning, I made breakfast like nothing had changed. Scrambled eggs, toast, coffee exactly how Robert liked it. 2 sugars, splash of milk. Patricia came downstairs at 7:30. Hair perfect, makeup perfect, smile perfect. "Good morning, Margaret," she said. "Did you sleep well?" "Like a baby," I lied. Robert followed 5 minutes later. Kissed Patricia, kissed James in his high chair. Did not kiss me. I watched them eat the food I cooked, watched them talk about their day, watched them exist in my house like I was furniture. Useful, necessary, but not worth acknowledging unless they needed something. And I smiled, poured more coffee, asked if anyone wanted more toast, because I had learned something important at 2 a.m. Anger is useful, but anger that shows on your face is wasted energy. The people who win are the ones who smile while they sharpen the knife. After they left for work, Patricia to her real estate office, Robert to his engineering firm. I went down to the basement, my basement, the one I dug by hand in 1987, the one with concrete walls I poured myself, the one Patricia had never been in because she said basements creeped her out. Good. Let her stay creeped out. I pulled the string for the light. Single bulb. Harsh shadows. The smell of concrete and old wood and the particular mustiness of a space that stays 58 degrees year-round. In the corner, behind the water heater I installed in 1993, there was a metal filing cabinet. Army green. Scratched. The lock broken since 1999. I opened the bottom drawer. Inside were the original blueprints for this house. Hand-drawn. Pencil on paper. Every measurement. Every support beam. Every piece of lumber calculated to the inch. Underneath the blueprints were the permits. Every single permit I had pulled over 37 years. Electrical, plumbing, foundation, occupancy. And underneath the permits, this was the important part. Underneath the permits was the deed. Margaret Chen, sole owner. Purchased 1987. Paid in full 1994. No mortgage, no lien, no co-owner, just me. I photographed every page, used my old phone. The one Robert had tried to replace last year with a smartphone I did not want. The one I kept charged in my nightstand because it still worked fine and I was not stupid enough to think newer meant better. Click, 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 blueprints, permits, deed. Evidence that this house was mine, built by me, owned by me, not theirs to take. But evidence would not be enough. I knew that. Patricia was not stupid. She would not just try to kick me out. She would build a case, make me look incompetent, make Robert believe I needed help. I needed to know what she was planning. Exactly. Specifically. I needed to hear it from her own mouth. That afternoon, while Patricia was showing a house to clients and Robert was in a meeting, I did something I had never done before. I went into their bedroom. My hands were shaking when I turned the doorknob. This was a line, a boundary, the kind of thing that, if I was caught, would prove I was the crazy one. But I was not crazy. I was protecting myself from people who wanted to gaslight me into a facility. The bedroom smelled like Patricia's perfume, expensive, floral, the kind that costs more than I spent on groceries in a month. Their bed was made, hospital corners, decorative pillows that served no purpose, everything perfect. I opened Patricia's nightstand, moisturizer, sleeping mask, a book about French cooking she had never opened, nothing useful. I opened her dresser drawers, underwear, socks, workout clothes with the tags still on. Nothing. I was about to give up when I saw her laptop bag hanging on the back of the door. My heart hammered. Laptop meant passwords, security, things I could not access. But the bag also had a pocket. I unzipped it. Papers. Folded. Tucked behind the laptop sleeve. I pulled them out, hands shaking so hard the papers rustled. The first document was a printout from a medical website. Dementia symptoms, early-stage Alzheimer's. Signs your loved one needs memory care. Certain sentences were highlighted in yellow. Forgets recent conversations. Misplaces common items. Difficulty managing finances. Confusion about time and place. She was building a checklist. Symptoms to fake. To claim I had. The second document was worse. Handwritten notes. Patricia's handwriting. Looping. Careful. Dr. Martinez appointment notes. Mentioned. Margaret forgot stove. Lie. I never did this. Mentioned Margaret confused about dates. Mentioned Margaret asking same questions repeatedly. Suggested evaluation for cognitive decline. She had lied to my doctor, planted fake symptoms, started a medical record of incompetence that did not exist. My vision tunneled. The room tilted. This was not just cruel. This was systematic, calculated. The third document made me sit down on their perfect bed. It was a real estate market analysis for my house. Current estimated value, $475,000. Projected sale price, $450,000. Agent commission, $27,000. Net proceeds, $423,000. She had already calculated how much money she would make when she took my house. Not if. When. At the bottom of the page, in Patricia's handwriting, timeline, 6 months to evaluation, 3 months to commitment, 2 months to sell. Total, 11 months. Commitment. She was planning to have me committed to a facility within 11 months, and then sell my house for nearly $500,000. I photographed every page. My hands were steady now. The shaking had stopped. Rage is clarifying. It burns away fear. Leaves only purpose. I put everything back exactly how I found it. Zipped the bag, hung it on the door, smoothed the bedspread where I had sat, and I left that bedroom knowing exactly what I was fighting. This was not about space. This was not about family dynamics. This was about money, $423,000 to be exact. Patricia did not want me gone because I was in the way. She wanted me gone because I was expensive. Because keeping me alive meant waiting for an inheritance that might not come for another 15 years. And Patricia was not a patient woman. That night at dinner, I watched her differently. She cut James's food into tiny pieces, wiped his face, made airplane noises to get him to eat peas. Such a good mother, anyone watching would think. But I saw something else now. I saw a woman who had chosen this house over the baby's father, who had convinced her husband that his mother was a burden, who smiled while planning to lock an old woman in a facility to steal her life savings. "Margaret," Patricia said, snapping me out of my thoughts. "Are you okay? You seem distant." "I am fine, dear," I said. "Just tired." "You should rest more," Patricia said. At your age, you need more sleep. At my age, always at my age. Like being 72 meant my brain was already halfway to oatmeal. Robert nodded. Mom, maybe you should see the doctor. Get a checkup. I just had a checkup, I said. 3 months ago. Everything was fine. But that was 3 months ago, Patricia said. Things can change quickly at... She paused, smiled. At any age, really. She almost said it. Almost said at your age again. Caught herself just in time. I will think about it. I lied. After dinner, I volunteered to do the dishes. Told them to relax. Spend time with James. They went into the living room, turned on the TV, became a perfect little family in the house they were stealing. And I stood at the sink I installed in 1989, washing dishes, planning. I could confront them, show them the photos, demand they leave. But that would not work. Patricia would deny everything. Cry. Say I was paranoid. Say it proved I needed help. Robert would believe her. He always believed her. No, confrontation was not the answer. I needed something bigger, something that would make denial impossible. I needed proof that would stand up in court, that would expose Patricia for exactly what she was, and I knew exactly where to get it. The next morning, I called my lawyer, not a fancy lawyer, just Ed Martinez, the same lawyer who had handled Jim's estate in 1987, who had helped me with the house deed, who had known me for 38 years and knew I was not crazy. Ed, I said, I need help. Margaret? Ed's voice was warm, concerned. What is wrong? I am being set up, I said, and I need to protect myself before it is too late. I told him everything. The conversation through the wall, the documents in Patricia's bag, the lies to my doctor. Ed was quiet for a long time. Margaret, he finally said, this is elder abuse, financial exploitation. If what you are saying is true, Patricia could face criminal charges. It is true, I said. I have photos. Send them to me, Ed said. All of them. And do not tell anyone you called me. Not Robert, not Patricia. No one. What do? I asked. You keep playing the confused old lady, Ed said. Let Patricia think she is winning. Meanwhile, I am going to build a case that will bury her. We hung up. I sent the photos. Every single one. Blueprints, deed, Patricia's notes, the real estate analysis. And then I went upstairs and made lunch like nothing had happened. That afternoon, Ed called back. Margaret, I spoke to a colleague who specializes in elder law. She says we need more than documents. We need Patricia on record, admitting what she is planning. How do I do that? I asked. Do you have a recording device? My phone, I said. Good. We need you to get Patricia talking. About the house, about the facility, about her plans for you. Can you do that? I thought about it. Patricia was careful. She would not just confess to my face. Unless I gave her a reason to think it was safe. I can try, I said. Ed's voice got serious. Margaret, be careful. If she realizes what you are doing, this could get dangerous. Dangerous. He said it like I should be scared. But I had spent 37 years building a life from nothing. I had dug foundations in frozen ground. I had wired live electrical panels. I had climbed onto roofs in thunderstorms to fix leaks. I was not afraid of Patricia. That night, I made my move. Dinner was over. James was in bed. Robert was in the garage, fixing something on his car. Patricia and I were alone in the kitchen. I started the recording on my phone, slipped it into my cardigan pocket, microphone facing out, and then I said the words I had been practicing all afternoon. Patricia, I have been thinking about what you said, about the facilities. Patricia looked up from her wine glass, eyes sharp, interested. Oh, maybe you are right, I said, voice small, uncertain. I am getting older, and I do not want to be a burden. Patricia's face softened. but her eyes stayed hard. Margaret, you are not a burden. We just want what is best for you. I know, I said. And maybe one of those places would be good for me. I would have friends, activities. Patricia set down her wine glass, came around the kitchen island, put her hand on my shoulder. I am so glad you are being open to this, she said. But I need to ask you something, I said. About the house. Patricia's hand tightened on my shoulder, just slightly. What about it? If I go to a facility, I said, what happens to the house? Patricia smiled, that same smile from the brochure day. Well, she said, Robert would take care of it. He is your son. It would go to him. And you? I asked. Patricia laughed, soft, like the question was silly. I am Robert's wife, she said. What is his is mine. So you would live here, I said. Of course, Patricia said. This house is perfect for raising James. And maybe more children. We have been talking about having another baby. Another baby. In my house. After I was gone. What about my things? I asked. Patricia waved her hand. Dismissive. We would keep anything important. Donate the rest. You would not need much in a facility. They provide everything. My tools? I asked. The ones in the garage? Margaret, Patricia said. Voice patient, like talking to a child. You do not use those tools anymore. They are just taking up space. I built this house with those tools, I said. And it is a beautiful house, Patricia said. Which is why we want to take care of it for you. Make sure it stays in the family. By selling it? I asked. Patricia froze. Just for a second. Who said anything about selling? I saw the papers, I said. In your bag. The real estate analysis. Patricia's face changed. The smile died. Her eyes went cold. You went through my things? I was looking for a pen, I lied. The papers fell out. Patricia stepped back, crossed her arms. Those papers were just research, in case we ever needed to downsize. You calculated the sale price, I said. $450,000. Margaret, Patricia said, voice tight. You are confused. Those papers were not about this house. They had this address on them, I said. No, Patricia said. They did not. But I had her. She was lying. And my phone was recording every word. I stood up, looked her in the eyes. I know what you are planning, I said. I know about the fake symptoms you told my doctor. I know about the commitment timeline. I know about the money. Patricia's face went white, then red. You are paranoid, she said. This is exactly what I was talking about. You are having delusions. I am not delusional, I said. I am awake. Patricia grabbed her phone, started texting. What are you doing? I asked. Texting Robert, she said. He needs to know his mother is having an episode. An episode, I said. That is what you are calling this. You are acting crazy, Patricia hissed. Going through my things, accusing me of trying to steal your house. This is dementia, Margaret, and you need help. The garage door opened. Robert came in, saw our faces. What is going on? Your mother, Patricia said, voice shaking. Performance perfect. She is accusing me of horrible things, going through my private belongings. I think she needs to see a doctor. Robert looked at me, and I saw it in his eyes. He believed her. Mom, he said, voice gentle. Let us just calm down. I am calm, I said. I am also not crazy. No one said you were crazy, Robert said. She did, I said. Pointing at Patricia, she called me delusional, paranoid. Said I am having an episode. Mom, Robert said, you have been under a lot of stress. Maybe Patricia is right. Maybe we should get you checked out. I do not need to be checked out, I said. I need you to listen to me. I am listening, Robert said. No, I said. You are humoring me. There is a difference. Robert sighed, ran his hands through his hair. What do you want me to say, Mom? I want you to believe me, I said. Your wife is planning to have me committed so she can take this house. Robert and Patricia exchanged a look. The kind of look that said, see? I told you. Mom, Robert said, that is a very serious accusation. Do you have proof? I have proof, I said. I have photos of her documents. Patricia laughed. Actually laughed. You mean the documents you stole from my private bag? Those photos? I did not steal them, I said. I documented them. You violated my privacy, Patricia said. And now you are making wild accusations to justify it. Robert put his hand on my shoulder. Mom, he said, I think you should go rest. We will talk about this tomorrow. I do not need to rest, I said. I need you to look at the evidence. What evidence? Robert asked. Photos of papers you admit you took without permission? That is not evidence, Mom. That is... He trailed off. That is what? I asked. Robert would not look at me. Patricia finished for him. That is exactly the kind of behavior we were worried about, she said. Stealing things, paranoia, confusion. And just like that, I realized what had happened. Patricia had turned my evidence into proof of my incompetence. I had walked right into her trap. I went to my bedroom, closed the door, sat on my bed. My phone was still recording in my pocket. I pulled it out, stopped the recording. 34 minutes. I had Patricia on tape admitting the house was perfect for raising children, admitting she would donate my things, admitting she wanted to take care of it for me. But I also had myself on tape admitting I went through her bag, accusing her, sounding exactly as paranoid as she claimed I was. I sent the recording to Ed anyway, and then I cried. For the first time since Jim died. I cried until my ribs hurt, because I was losing. Patricia was smarter than me, better at this. She had turned my own son against me, made me look crazy for defending myself, and I did not know how to fight back. My phone buzzed, text from Ed. I listened to the recording. This is good. She admitted key things. But Margaret, you need to be more careful. Do not confront her again. Let me handle this legally. Too late, I texted back. She knows I am onto her. Then we need to move fast, Ed replied. I am filing for an emergency protective order tomorrow, and I am getting you an independent psychological evaluation to prove you are competent. What do I do tonight? I asked. Lock your door, Ed said, and do not eat or drink anything Patricia gives you. That last sentence made my blood run cold. You think she would poison me? I think desperate people do desperate things, Ed wrote, and you just backed her into a corner. I locked my bedroom door that night. And I did not sleep, because somewhere in this house, the house I built with my own hands, my daughter-in-law was planning how to destroy me, and my son was letting her. If you have ever been told you are crazy for noticing the truth, leave a like on this video. Because what happens next is going to prove why you should always trust your gut. The next morning, Ed called at 6 a.m. Margaret, do not leave your room until I get there. I am 10 minutes away. What is happening? I asked. I filed the emergency protective order at midnight. Judge signed it at 5 a.m. Patricia and Robert are being served with papers right now. My heart stopped. What papers? Cease and desist on any attempt to access your medical records, your finances, or your property, and a temporary restraining order preventing Patricia from entering your home until the court hearing. She lives here, I said. Not anymore, Ed replied. Sheriff's deputy is at your door right now. Get dressed. I heard pounding downstairs. Voices. Patricia screaming. I got dressed faster than I had in years. When I came downstairs, there were 2 sheriff's deputies in my living room. Patricia was crying. Robert looked like he had been hit by a truck, and Ed was standing in my kitchen like an avenging angel in a cheap suit. Margaret, Ed said. Are you okay? I am now, I said. The deputy turned to me. Ma'am, I need to confirm. This is your house? You are the sole owner? Yes, I said. I built it in 1988, paid in full in 1994. The deputy nodded. Then, under the emergency protective order, Mrs. Patricia Morrison needs to vacate the premises immediately. This is insane, Patricia screamed. Robert, do something. But Robert was staring at Ed. What is the protective order for? Robert asked. Elder abuse, Ed said. Financial exploitation, attempted fraud. Those are lies, Patricia said. Margaret is confused. She needs help, not lawyers. Ed pulled out a folder, opened it. Is this your handwriting, Mrs. Morrison? He showed her the photographs I had taken, her notes about fake symptoms, the real estate analysis, the timeline for commitment. Patricia's face went white. Those were private, she whispered. They were evidence, Ed said, of a systematic plan to have Mrs. Chen declared incompetent, committed to a facility, and to steal her house worth $475,000. Robert grabbed the papers, read them. His hands started shaking. Patricia, he said, voice breaking. What is this? I can explain, Patricia said. Please do, Ed said. Explain to your husband how you lied to Mrs. Chen's doctor, how you fabricated symptoms of dementia, how you calculated the profit from selling her house. I was protecting our family, Patricia said. Robert, your mother is getting old. She needs care. I was just planning ahead. By lying? Robert asked. By being realistic, Patricia snapped. You were too emotional to see it. Someone had to think about our future, about James's future. Robert looked at his mother, really looked at her, maybe for the first time in years. Mom, he said, did you know about this? I heard Patricia say I should go die somewhere else, I said, in the house I built. And yes, I knew. Robert's face crumbled. The deputy stepped forward. Mrs. Morrison, you have 30 minutes to pack essential items and vacate the property. You can return with an escort to collect your belongings at a later date. Where am I supposed to go? Patricia asked. That is not my concern, the deputy said. Robert, Patricia turned to him. You are coming with me, right? Robert looked at her, then at me, then at the papers in his hand. I need time, he said. Time? Patricia's voice went shrill. I am your wife, the mother of your child. You plan to lock my mother in a facility to steal her house, Robert said. For us, Patricia screamed. For our family. No, Robert said quietly. For you. The room went silent. Patricia grabbed her purse, walked to the door, turned back. You will regret this, she said to me. All of you. Ma'am, the deputy said. That sounds like a threat. It is a promise, Patricia said. And she left. Just like that. 6 years in my house, gone in 30 minutes. Robert stood in the living room holding his son, looking lost. Mom, he said. I did not know. I swear I did not know. You let her convince you I was crazy, I said. Robert started crying. Actual tears. I am so sorry, he said. I should have listened. I should have seen it. Yes, I said. You should have. Ed cleared his throat. Margaret, we need to talk about next steps. Patricia will likely contest the order. We need to prepare for a hearing. What do I need to do? I asked. Get an independent psychological evaluation. Prove you are mentally competent. And we need to document everything she did. I have recordings, I said. Photos. Witnesses. Good, Ed said. Because this is going to get ugly. He was right. The court hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. In those 2 weeks, Patricia hired a lawyer. A good one. Expensive. She filed a counterclaim. Said I was mentally unstable. Said I had threatened her. Said she was only trying to help a confused old woman who was becoming a danger to herself. She brought witnesses, her mother, her sister, friends who swore they had seen me forget things, get confused, act erratically. All lies, but convincing lies. Robert testified for me, said he had been manipulated, said Patricia had poisoned him against his own mother. But Patricia's lawyer made him look weak, controlled, unable to think for himself. Ed brought the documents, the photos, the recordings, but Patricia's lawyer argued they were taken without consent, violated privacy, were inadmissible. The judge listened to everything, and then he asked me to testify. I walked to the stand, put my hand on the Bible, swore to tell the truth. Patricia's lawyer stood up, smiled. "Mrs. Chen," he said, "how old are you?" 72, I said. "And when did you build your house?" 1988, I said. 37 years ago, he said. "That is a long time. Do you remember it clearly?" "I remember every nail," I said. He smiled wider. "Do you remember what you had for breakfast this morning?" "Oatmeal," I said. "With blueberries. Same as every morning." "Same as every morning," he repeated. "Routines are important for people with memory issues, are they not?" "I do not have memory issues," I said. "But you went through my client's private belongings," he said. "You recorded her without consent. You made accusations of conspiracy. Does that sound like rational behavior?" "It sounds like self-defense," I said. "Against what?" he asked. "A woman trying to help you?" "A woman trying to steal my house," I said. He held up the real estate analysis. "You mean this document? The one you admit you took from her private bag?" "Yes," I said. "And you interpreted this as evidence of theft?" "It calculates the profit from selling my house," I said. "What else would it be?" "Mrs. Chen," he said, gentle, kind. "My client is a real estate agent. She analyzes properties. That is her job." "The property has my address on it," I said. "Because she was helping you," he said. "Estimating value. Planning for your future care." "By lying to my doctor?" I asked. "By expressing legitimate concerns," he said. I felt the room tipping. He was good, very good, and he was making me sound paranoid. The judge called for a break. Ed pulled me aside. "You are doing fine," he said, "but we need to show them the real Patricia." "How?" I asked. "Trust me," Ed said. When we returned, Ed called his witness, Dr. Sandra Williams, forensic psychologist. Dr. Williams had evaluated me, spent 6 hours testing my memory, my cognition, my mental state. She testified that I was completely competent, no signs of dementia, no cognitive decline, sharp memory, clear thinking. Patricia's lawyer tried to discredit her, but Dr. Williams had receipts, test scores, brain scans, documentation that was unshakable. Then Ed called his next witness, Robert. Robert walked to the stand, looked at Patricia, looked at me, and told the truth. He testified that Patricia had been planting doubts about me for years, that she had isolated me, that she had treated me like hired help in my own house. He testified about the conversation he overheard, the one where Patricia called me an obstacle. And then Ed asked the question that changed everything. "Mr. Chen, did your wife ever say what would happen to your mother's house if she was committed?" Robert's voice broke. "She said it would finally be ours, that we could raise our family without my mother in the way." The courtroom went silent. Patricia's lawyer stood up, objected, hearsay. But the judge overruled him, because Robert was not finished. He pulled out his phone, held it up. "I have recordings too," he said, "of Patricia talking to her sister, planning this. I started recording after my mother showed me the evidence, because I needed to know if it was true." Ed took the phone, played the recording. Patricia's voice, clear, undeniable. "Linda, we are so close. Another 3 months and I can have her evaluated. Then we sell the house, split the money. Robert does not even have to know the full amount. The courtroom erupted. The judge banged his gavel. Patricia stood up, screaming, "That was private. You recorded me without permission." "Like you recorded fake symptoms about my mother?" Robert asked. The judge ordered everyone to sit down. He looked at Patricia, then at me, and then he made his ruling. The protective order is made permanent. Mrs. Morrison is permanently barred from the property located at 447 Maple Street. She is prohibited from contacting Mrs. Chen directly or indirectly. And I am referring this case to the District Attorney for criminal investigation of elder abuse and attempted fraud. Patricia's face went purple. "You cannot do this," she screamed. "I just did," the judge said. Security escorted Patricia from the courtroom. Robert came over to me, crying. "Mom," he said, "I am so sorry. For everything." I looked at my son, the boy I raised, the man who had forgotten who his mother was. "You have a lot to make up for," I said. "I know," he said. "Ed drove me home that afternoon. My home, my house, mine again." Robert moved out the next day, took James, got an apartment across town. He filed for divorce 3 weeks later. Patricia fought it. Of course she did. Wanted alimony, wanted custody, wanted everything. She got nothing. Because the district attorney charged her with elder abuse, attempted fraud, filing false medical reports. She took a plea deal, 2 years probation, mandatory community service, permanent restraining order, and she had to pay restitution. $15,000 for the emotional distress, the legal fees, the cost of fighting her lies. I donated every penny to a local charity that helps seniors fight financial abuse. Robert and I are rebuilding, slowly. He brings James to visit on Sundays. We plant tomatoes in the garden. I teach my grandson how to use a hammer. Robert asked if he could move back in. I said no. "This house is mine," I told him. "I built it. I fought for it. And I am not sharing it with anyone who does not respect that." Robert nodded, said he understood. And you know what? I think he finally does. Last week I got a letter from Patricia, forwarded through her lawyer. It was an apology, typed, formal, probably required by her probation. She said she was sorry, that she had been under stress, that she made mistakes. I burned it in my fireplace, because some apologies do not deserve acceptance. Some people do not deserve forgiveness. Some women who tell you to go die somewhere else do not get to come back and pretend it never happened. I am 72 years old. I built a house with my own hands. I raised a son alone. I survived a daughter-in-law who tried to steal everything I worked for. And I am still here, still in my house, still planting gardens, still building things. Because that is what I do. I build. And when someone tries to destroy what I built, well, they learn very quickly that the woman who knows how to build things also knows how to defend them. My name is Margaret Chen. I am 72 years old. And this is my house. Every nail, every board, every inch. Mine. What is the hardest lesson you have learned about protecting what is yours? Share your wisdom in the comments. Your experience might save someone else from making the same mistakes I almost made. And subscribe because I have more stories about women who refuse to be victims. I am sitting on my porch right now, the porch I built in 2012. Watching the sunset over the garden Jim and I planted in 1995. The tomatoes are coming in. Big, red, perfect. James is here. He is 4 now, learning to dig in the dirt, learning that good things take time, learning that the strongest foundations are built by hand. Robert is teaching him how to measure wood, how to cut straight, how to respect the tools. And I am teaching him the most important lesson of all. That home is not just a building. It is a promise. A promise that you will fight for the people and places you love. That you will not let anyone take from you what you built with your own hands. That you will stand up, Even when you are scared, even when you are alone, even when everyone tells you that you are wrong. Because sometimes, the hardest thing you ever build is not a house. It is the courage to defend it. My name is Margaret Chen. I am 72 years old, and I am not going anywhere. This is my house, and I will die here, on my own terms, in my own time, in the home I built, with my own hands. If you or someone you love is experiencing elder abuse, call the National Elder Abuse Hotline, 1-800-677-1116. You are not alone, you are not crazy, and you deserve to be believed.